It's time to suit up and recruit up. Here's your look at the new Hasbro Ghostbusters Plasma Series Trevor. Average teenage boy Trevor loves fast cars, reckless driving, cool adventures, and, like, stuff. A big thank you to the folks over at Hasbro that provided this sample of Trevor that we could have a look at in this review. They were nice enough actually to send over a whole bunch of Ghostbuster toys, now available in retail stores and online. To do some comparisons with the other Plasma series figures that we've already had a look at, let's bring in the likes of Podcast. Quite the size difference between the two. We also had a look at Peter Venkman. And we also had a look at, let's just move Podcast just in the front here because he's a little bit smaller. We also had a look at Ray's stance. Still a couple of figures to go through, and of course, as we go through the new Plasma series, we're going to be building up the new Sentinel Terror Dog. Kind of excited for that. Maybe, to start things off, we'll have a look at the Build-A-Figure piece for the Sentinel Terror Dog. In this case, we get ourselves an arm, and unfortunately, again, in this case, we also have ourselves an unarticulated limb. There's articulation down below with the hand, and there's going to be articulation here up in the shoulder, but sadly nothing present here in the elbow area. Still, though, we're going to go ahead and take the Terror Dog from where we've left things off. I'm going to attach the arm like that. Nice, not so satisfying snap, but at least we've got ourselves most of the Terror Dog now done. I feel like we've completed more than we have left unfinished. And just get him to stand. There we go. It's going to kind of seems to be leaning then off to the side a little bit just because of the way the legs are going to be posed. But we're one arm down and we're one head down from finishing off the Sentinel Terror Dog. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. We're going to move that out of the way. And of course, we're going to look at the other accessories to come included here with Trevor. He comes with basically the same stuff as some of the other Ghostbusters, primarily a proton pack. I took the time this time around to not actually assemble the proton or neutrino wand, as I wanted to show you guys it's a separate piece when you get this out of the packaging. There's a hole just at the bottom of the proton pack, and then the end of the nozzle here, or the end of the hose, you're just going to wiggle that into the peg. I guess fit that into the peg hole. And you've got yourself the finished proton pack. And then from there, you can take the neutrino wand. There's a little hole on the side here that just attaches onto the peg like this. And it clips in place like that. There's a lot of extra hose that they have included with these proton packs, but still, got yourself a nice little proton pack to be displayed with Trevor, or really any of the other Ghostbusters, or let me just throw that out there as well for you guys to be interested in. You can also just display the figures with a whole bunch of proton packs behind them, like they're ready to suit up. I do like the fact that they are removable proton packs, so if you want to take them off and leave them off the figures, you can do that. But for the sake of Trevor, of course, we're going to bring his arm up, and we're just going to open up the side, which I've already done. We're going to slide his arm straight through, bring the strap around, get his head in between the two shoulder straps, and then you're going to take the peg and you're going to attach it to the back of his torso like that. A little bit of pressure, a little bit of pressure required. Bring this up, and then what we're going to do is we're going to harness the side together. I don't know why I'm struggling such a time with getting the peg in place on the back of his torso, but there we go. Take the side of the strap, and then you're just going to fit it onto the peg. Like that. There we go. And you got Trevor with his proton pack. It's no different of a proton pack than the ones we've already gotten with the figures. So, like, for example, grabbing Peter Venkman, you can see on the back. Yeah, it seems to be the exact same proton packs. Nothing really... Well, actually, a little bit has certainly changed. The coloring of the wires. You can see the wires colored in red, blue, and then that gray. It's all gray here on the one that came included with Peter Venkman. That may have just been the case of paint missing on the figure. Let's actually check Ray's stance. No, actually, Ray's stance also has all gray wires on the back of his proton pack. So there may be some variation with actually the proton packs that are on the younger Ghostbusters to the ones that come included with the older Ghostbusters. Interesting, I never really noticed that before. So that's one of his accessories. Put the figure down here for a second. Trevor also comes included with a map. The map isn't quite paper. It seems like it's almost got... There's almost like a finish to the paper. I guess it still is paper. It's potentially able to be ripped. But it almost has like a slight wax feel to it. And as you can see, if we flip this around so you can see it, it seems to be the map, I'm guessing, of the town of which they live. And then this is sort of the center point. All of this is more speculation than anything else because, of course, Ghostbusters Afterlife isn't out yet. I'm super excited to see what it is. I couldn't help but also notice as well that there's, maybe I do have it the wrong way. The scripture, as you can see, is not legible, nor is it in English. Which way do we have it? This way? That seems to be the way. I think I had it the right way the first time. So yeah, you do get yourself a nice little interesting map that will come into play more so, and of course when the movie comes out, that comes included with the figure. And you also get yourself a bunch of little mini puffs. I don't know what exactly they're doing. It almost looks like they've got a roll of toilet paper that they're unraveling. Could also be the fact that they're unraveling themselves too. Now, this one was the one that came included with podcast. This one was the one that attached around to his torso. This basically is just a standalone piece that I guess you could have display along with the figures. They don't really have the means to stand on their own, nor do you attach them really to anything either. But you get these little extra mini puffs. That's not so bad. Getting now a closer look at Trevor. He might be one of my favorite figures from this wave so far that we've looked at. Bearing quite a good strong resemblance to actor Finn Wolfhard, I also like his last name, who also, of course, you guys may recognize from It, and he was also, of course, in Stranger Things. One of the benefits of this actor is we've certainly seen him grow from the early stages of Stranger Things all the way through It, and now how he is a full-grown man in Ghostbusters Afterlife. He's had himself several growth spurts, and makes for a much larger figure than, say, the previously looked at podcast, which again we can bring back in. I can't imagine that they're the same age. Trevor clearly is an older character in the movie, but they are sporting very similar looking Ghostbuster outfits. The interesting thing, though, about Podcast, when we looked at him, is he had a sewn on or drawn on patch naming himself or naming the suit. He still had the No Ghost logo on the back of it, on the side of his shoulder. But Trevor doesn't seem to have a name badge. There's no patch at all. He still has the No Ghost patch on the shoulder, but he doesn't actually have one indicating his name on the jumpsuit. I'm sure there's a reasoning for that. The color is still rather familiar to all the other jumpsuits that we've seen. Even Ray Stantz and Peter Venkman have all had this type of darker beige plastic used. This one does have the open zipper, so you can kind of see there's a black shirt underneath it. There's some weird thing going on with the plastic, though. I don't know if you can see it. There's almost like these little markings there on the front of the plastic. Not sure how they got there, but nice zippers sculpted in there. And clearly it looks like he's wearing a jumpsuit that isn't quite yet his size. You can see it's quite a bit baggy there in the upper torso. This could actually be a full adult-sized outfit that he's wearing, not something that was made specifically for his size, like Podcast we looked at before. Still has the elbow patches there, the elbow pads there. It doesn't limit his articulation. In fact, his articulation is underneath the pad, and that's the case on both sides. Still has a little hose nozzle there on the one side of his leg. Decent sculpting on the pants, though there's not really much paint happening really here. And like Podcast, he seems to be selecting his own size of sneakers, as opposed to like those stock boots that all the regular original Ghostbusters were wearing. The kids clearly seem to be just wearing whatever shoes they were wearing at the time before they put the costumes on. For the figure's articulation, his head rotates all the way around. Somewhat all the way around. He does have a higher collar, which sort of does limit a little bit of moving it. And he also has quite curly hair too, which limits a little bit of his articulation. The head goes down, the head goes up. And would you even dare believe his head also goes back and forth as well? Just a little bit, though. His arms rotate all the way around. You can bring the arms up at a very comfortable 90-degree angle. In fact, actually, you can bring it up just a little bit higher than 90 degrees. He does have a bend at the elbow, which also affords that lower arm to rotate back and forth. And you can also rotate the hands all the way around. Upper torso is on a ball joint. And the way they strap the proton pack, it's right above his belt. So it doesn't limit what you can do with his articulation. You can see where the articulation point is actually down below here. Legs split out. Not a full splits. Well, I guess that's almost a full splits. Bring the legs forward. Bring the legs back. He has a swivel in a cut of his thigh, 3/4 of the way up his leg. You can hinge the knee, 2 places in the knee. It's really, really tight, though, on these legs. This leg, also the same idea. I mean, really, they don't give you too much of afforded space to get that second hinge joint really happening. So, I mean, more than just one hinge would be more than enough, really, for me. And then he does have some mild foot articulation as well. Not too much. Not too much. Yeah, I like Trevor. Trevor's a nice-looking figure. He looks, again, a lot like the actor who's playing him in the movie. Again, all we really have to work from so far is just a couple of trailers. I am, though, super excited to see what Ghostbusters Afterlife will do and what will happen with the new cast of Ghostbusters. There's so far only 2 of them, and I guess just to bring a little bit more company to the table, we can also bring in Peter Venkman. And we can also bring in Ray Stantz, who happen to represent, so far, all the Plasma Series figures that we've looked at so far. Not having looked at yet, Lucky and Winston Zedmore will make up the remainder of the Plasma Series and will also complete the Sentinel Terror Dog. To see how that looks, you'll have to certainly stay tuned for some future videos. So I was spending a little bit more time looking at these mini puffs, the things that came included with the figures, and I really didn't think they had a purpose. Well, they do actually have a purpose. This little ringlet, remember the one that came included with Podcast? I foolishly tried to attach it to Podcast's neck, which clearly wasn't supposed to be the place where it was supposed to go. Actually, what you can do with this is take this and fit it over top of a Neutrino Wand. I'm just going to use Trevor for the time being. Fit it around, and it fits just to the very top of it. So then you can go ahead and put that into Trevor's hand, at least the rest of it. And it looks like the little mini puffs are latching onto the Neutrino Wand. I think that's kind of cool. Then, for this string of mini puffs, if you flip around the back, where of course the figure is holding or carrying around the proton pack, you can then go ahead and take the mini puffs and attach it to the back of the proton pack. And it sort of helps, actually, the space in between the legs of this mini puff fits rather nicely just around the hose. And it actually gives you just the proper lineup. So it actually looks like the top of the mini puff is trying to climb on top of the proton pack. I gotta admit, at least it gives them a purpose, because up to this point I had no idea where either one of these things were supposed to go. But if you do pick up these figures for yourself, you can take the little ringlet here and attach it to a Neutrino Wand. And then on the back, you can take this string of mini puffs and you can attach it to the back of the proton pack. That's pretty cool, actually. One thing I did notice about Trevor's accessories was he was omitted a proton stream. I guess because of the filling of all the accessories in there, he already got included the map, so that map sort of took the place of a proton stream. Don't worry, though. Winston Zedmore as well as Lucky both come included with proton streams. So if you do want to have, I think already there's 2 proton streams of the figures that we've already opened up, and another 2 that's going to be for the figures that we're going to be looking at next. So you get 4 streams that you can either pack for the new Ghostbuster characters or for the original OG characters, the Peter, the Ray, and the Winston Zedmore. Nice looking figure, though, Trevor is. Little long, little lanky. You can certainly see, though, how the actor has grown over the years of the different films and TV series that he was in. He is definitely going to be, I think, the standout character, one of the standout characters. I think we're probably still going to be getting a second wave of Plasma series, because there's, of course, a few characters omitted from this first wave. And of course, this first wave, as we're going along, we're going to be building the Sentinel Dog. The Sentinel Terror Dog looks interesting enough. I just wish it had more articulation. And I'm sure I'll spend a little bit more time during the review of the Terror Dog to talk a little more about that. What do you guys think of the Plasma series? Have you managed to pick up any of these figures? And if you have, let me know down below in the comments section which ones you've managed to pick up so far. If you guys are also new to this channel, enjoying the content you're seeing so far, hit that subscribe button down below. Turn the bell notification on. Make sure, yes, you're coming back to this channel, because we are now 2 figures away, Lucky and Winston, before we finish off the rest of this Plasma series wave. And before we finish off the Sentinel Terror Dog. And again, once again, a big thank you to the folks over at Hasbro that provided the sample of all the Plasma series figures that we've been looking at on this channel. Lots more coming your way, guys. So as always, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.